Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 11 on this one-year anniversary of the October 7th attacks on Israel. I'm Thomas Payer. Today marks 1 year since Hamas attacked Israel in what's being known as the deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Our Capitol correspondent Jamie DeLine has reaction now from state leaders and the efforts the state has been making to combat anti-Semitism.
To honor the victims of the Hamas attack, Governor Hochul has directed flags to be flown at half-staff and state landmarks will be lit yellow in solidarity with Israel. The governor posted on X saying in part, quote, "On this solemn day, we pray for the release of the hostages and an end to the violence and recommit ourselves in the fight to stamp out anti-Semitism." On Sunday night, she spoke at the Temple Israel Center in Westchester County, reflecting on her visit to Israel last year.
Nothing on earth that could justify what I saw and the searing pain that so many still live with today 1 year later. Never. Nothing could justify that, ever.
New York is home to the largest Jewish population outside of Israel.
I just think today is also a day not only to remember those who we know were killed, but also to remember those who have not been returned, dead or alive, to their families, and they should. And there's American citizens in that 101 hostages. There's not just Israelis. There are American citizens that are part of that, and the United States should never rest as long as some of our citizens are being held captive anywhere in the world, and certainly not in this case.
A year later, the conflict continues. Last week, state police were directed to strengthen surveillance at synagogues, mosques, and community centers after Iran's bombardment of Israel. In an effort to combat hate, the state budget passed this year allocated a total of $35 million to the Securing Communities Against Hate grant program to strengthen security at places of worship. Reporting in Albany, I'm Jamie DeLine.
And in New York City's Central Park, there was a ceremony held to remember the victims. Governor Hochul was in attendance. Leaders across the political spectrum are paying tribute to those who were killed and taken hostage. Our D.C. correspondent Raquel Martin tells us how the president and the candidates for his office are marking the anniversary.
President Joe Biden, who's been steadfast in his support for Israel, reaffirmed that support today. He started his morning speaking with the president of Israel. With dozens of hostages still being held captive, he is also pushing for their return.
For the souls of the holy ones, men, women, and children who were killed on October 7th.
President Joe Biden held a special prayer at the White House, marking 365 days since the deadliest attack against Jewish people since the Holocaust. 1 year ago today, Hamas killed roughly 1,200 people in Israel and took about 250 people hostage.
We're here to say we have Israel's back.
In Israel, Democrat and Republican senators joined Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as Israel expands its military operation.
Fighting like lions with the support of the American government.
The U.S. has spent a record $17.9 billion in military aid to Israel since the war began. Former President Donald Trump visited with Jewish leaders in New York. In Washington, his running mate, J.D. Vance, blamed the Biden administration for not doing enough to end the war.
America and the world are at risk of being dragged into a massive and bloody regional conflict.
Israeli attacks have decimated Gaza, killing more than 40,000 Palestinians. As the war expands, families of the remaining 97 hostages fear a ceasefire deal may be out of reach. The Biden administration continues to blame Hamas for the lack of a ceasefire deal. The vice president held her own event honoring the victims of October 7th at her residence. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
The Southeast is bracing for Hurricane Milton.